Today I'm going to talk about 4 stances of MGTOW. These are the 4 different stances or categories that I've come to notice, and I've attributed colors to them. But these stances are real stances or categories that I've seen that in fact they do exist, and they've just not yet been categorized or brought to light. So the different stances or the different colors are the red, the gold, the black, and the white. Now, this is they're all MGTOW because of these reasons. All 4 of them do not seek any kind of dependency on women whatsoever. They reject all kinds of dependency, all forms of dependency on women. They invest in themselves and do not look to women for any kind of resource or guidance or emotional, good feelings or anything. They don't look to women for these things. So in this way, they are all MGTOWs because none of them are dependent on women or seek dependency on women. The other reason that they're MGTOWs is they don't pedestalize women. They don't put the pussy on a pedestal and exalt women or chase after them or pander to them. This is really what MGTOW is all about. It's about getting away from dependency on women and from pedestalizing them, okay, or looking to them as like a mother figure or something stupid like this. They do not do this. MGTOWs, they go their own way, meaning they do not go towards women looking to them for any kind of solutions to their problems. So all of these categories that I'm about to mention, they all have these in common. All right, but they all go about them. They don't go about them in the same exact ways. Okay, they do a little bit different things. All right, so let's start with the red. The MGTOW Reds are pretty much the warrior class of the MGTOWs. I guess a good example would be like Sandman. He pretty much makes YouTube videos mainly about just destroying the whole idea of pedestalizing women. I mean, he just pretty much destroys women, and it's necessary. This is a necessary tactic, and it must be done for people to really take the red pill. I mean, it's like, and the colors that being red, the reason I just said it was red is because it's like they're the more violent side of MGTOW, but in a good way. I mean, they're like the warrior class. You don't fuck with a MGTOW red. They will destroy you, and it's necessary. I mean, without MGTOW Reds, you can't really advance or make paradigm shifts in the MGTOW community. You can't see all the BS that goes on in your society, and so really, as the MGTOW Reds really bring these issues to light. And most MGTOWs are MGTOW Reds, and they don't realize it. But that's not the only type of MGTOW, okay? Because the next type of MGTOW is the MGTOW Black. And the black stance or the black category is, instead of really trying to destroy women or something like that, or wage war against them, MGTOW Blacks just opt out altogether. They just leave the plantation and they ignore women. I mean, this is where pretty much, if you're not a MGTOW Red, this is the other category where most men typically identify as MGTOW, as they just ignore women altogether. I mean, they just don't even acknowledge the existence of women. So some of their content, if they're a content producer, some of their content will be stuff that has to do with male improvement or things that have to do with bettering yourself as a man, and it will have nothing to do with women. And for some MGTOWs, they will be confused, because they think that all MGTOW is like woman bashing or something. Well, that's part of MGTOW because that's what's necessary for a paradigm shift. That's what's necessary to take the red pill. So some people who are MGTOW Reds and they think that's all of MGTOW, they'll come to a MGTOW Black channel or some MGTOW Black content, and it won't have a damn thing to do with women. And they'll be like, what does this have to do with MGTOW? I thought this was supposed to be a MGTOW video. Where's the part where you're supposed to talk bad about women or destroy women? You know what I'm saying? Like that's only one part of MGTOW. And you'll notice in my videos, I have videos for all four of these categories. I have videos that expose the BS of women and really just take them down to the level that they really need to be. But then I also have videos where I don't even talk about women at all. Like it's like a male empowerment type video. It's a video to empower the male and to help him invest in himself and to go his own way and to be a more powerful and empowered male. Okay. So it further enforces his self-dependency or his independency, I should say, and that is MGTOW because MGTOW rejects all forms of dependency on women. All right. And they don't chase after women. They don't pander after women. So a MGTOW Black is still a MGTOW because he's ignoring women altogether. MGTOW Reds are still MGTOW, even though they don't ignore women, even though they address women quite often, and they, that seems to be like all they talk about. Well, that's kind of the job of a MGTOW Red. Their job is to address the enemy, to focus on threats. They're the warriors of the MGTOW community. So they're necessary, and I approve of them. And Sandman is one of the greatest ones. Turd Flinging Monkey, I know, has a lot of MGTOW Red style videos, but he also has a lot of MGTOW Black content, okay? Well, there's the other two categories. There's the MGTOW Gold, which is one that it's kind of like a temporary one. You don't really want to be in it, but you kind of have to be in it. But, and then there's the MGTOW White. So let's go ahead and talk about the MGTOW Gold. The MGTOW Gold is actually the stance or category that I'm unfortunately in, and I don't want to be in it, but no MGTOW who's truly a MGTOW would want to be in it. But it's basically the kind of awakened while married stance. It's where you're technically still in a legally dependent situation, or you're in a situation where you can still get screwed over by women, or you're still vulnerable to women in a certain way, and this makes you a MGTOW Gold. You don't want to be in this stance for as long as, you want to get out as soon as you can. This is something where you don't want to stay in this, but because of legal situations or whatever, you're still trying to get out. So this is also what's called awakened while married or something like this. But it's what I call the MGTOW Gold. And it is a MGTOW stance. It is still MGTOW because you still have the belief system, and when you, in the ways that you can, you try to live the lifestyle of not having any dependency on women. It's a lifestyle choice that you've made, and you reject any future dependency, and any future decisions you do make are anti dependency on women, anti-pedestalization of women. So you are still a MGTOW even if you're Gold, but the MGTOW Gold is still a it's like the lesser form of MGTOW against your wishes. It's against your wishes. It's because of legal issues or something like this. The MGTOW White is different from the other MGTOWs because he does not reject women per se altogether, but he does reject any form of dependency on women, and he doesn't allow women to be above him or to be in any kind of leadership position above him. He just doesn't look to women for his guidance, his wisdom, his advice, his source of power. He does not look to women for any of these things. MGTOW Whites always invest in themselves, just like every other MGTOW. All MGTOWs invest in themselves, and they don't look to women to solve their problems. This is critical for all MGTOWs. He only uses women and in a way that they're meant to be used, and he He doesn't even mind helping a woman from his own mercy and awesomeness, but it's not out of, he's not doing it to try to barter with her or to try to, he's not a subservient to her. He's more of like a god over her, and any kind of mercy that he offers her is just because he's awesome. And it's not because he is trying to work out a deal with her or make some compromises as if she's on his level. Okay, a MGTOW white understands that women are not on his level. He is above them, and he will use them in the way that they're meant to be used, but he doesn't pedestalize them in any way. To do so would mean you're not a MGTOW. It's important to note that the MGTOW community as a whole cannot be in the white category or the white stance. This is because right now the current judicial system, the current stigmas or status quos of society, it's gynocentric, and men today are either in a MGTOW black stance as a whole, or they're in a gold stance. And it's because of the government or the judicial system, the way things are, it makes men in a way vulnerable to women. And so much of MGTOW is talking about this vulnerability that men have to women. Not even so much them, but the vulnerability that men have towards the government through the choices of women that the government has enabled them to do. So much of MGTOW is about exposing these vulnerabilities and understanding that they exist. And so you're either as a whole, MGTOW is in a gold stance, and they don't want to be anymore. They want to go black. They want to retreat from all of it as a way of coping. But when society changes, when society washes away, when these paradigm shifts begin to happen, it will be possible for the MGTOW community as a whole to go into a white stance or a white category. Because you cannot be a MGTOW white if you're still in a situation where you're vulnerable to women. You might have all of MGTOW white beliefs and mindsets and goals, but you cannot actually be a MGTOW white until you are until you have all the power. And in modern society, you just don't. I mean, in some ways you do, but when you unless you're willing to go head to head against the government or whatever, then you're still in a gold stance, or at best, you're in a black stance. And that is how a lot of MGTOWs choose to go. But it's not the only form. And if you have any kind of understanding about things of the future, that where we're going to be in just the next 5-10 years, you have to understand that ultimately the MGTOW community has to go MGTOW white eventually.